I'm going to show you 3 ways to murder Mozart or any other composer of your choice, living or dead. There's of course a 4th way, and that is simply to ask me to play it. I didn't even get grade 5 piano, so the less said about that the better. Most DAWs have a plethora of MIDI manipulation functions, and I just wanted to run over a couple and show you how they can be used to alter a piece of music. So grab your hatchet, I'm going over to the music machine and we'll see what we can do with poor Wolfgang Amadeus. So this is Mozart's Rondo alla Turca as it should be played. You have probably heard this dozens of times in many different places. So I'll just pause that, I'll send it back to the beginning. So the first thing we're going to do is not terribly destructive, although it is a bit of a normalization. We need to open the key editor, and now we go over to the inspector. Now if you've seen some of my other videos, you know I do have problems with my eyes. I can't actually see any of this, so I hope you don't mind if I switch on the screen magnifier. I know some people find this disorientating, but I hope this will make things clear and save me having to zoom in during editing. So what we are looking for is the scale assistant, which just happens to be open here because I've been playing with it, but it should appear here in Cubase. If it doesn't, if you click on this little cog, you can select which options appear in the list here. So scale assistant, where are we? What we can do is select the scale which will force these notes into a particular scale. Now the piece is in a minor key. It's a, I don't really want to get technical about keys. It uses G natural and G sharp. So I'm not going to go into that. To ask David Bennett, he's a whiz at this sort of thing. But if we did, for example, select a scale, and you can see there are lots of them, and dozens and dozens. So it has a natural minor, harmonic minor, melodic minor. So you can try these out and you can see the difference that they make. They'll play G naturals instead of G sharps, and G sharps instead of G naturals, and so on. It's a really minor tweak. So I'm not going to go into that at the moment. But one thing which is sort of quite interesting, I'm going to select a major key here, and if we hit this quantize button, sounds a bit weird, that will quantize the part into whatever key we selected. So let's get this running and press quantize. So you can it has been majorized. Okay, so that's sort of a fun thing. Let's undo that. So let's select another one. So let's select pentatonic. I shall start playback and then we'll quantize it. Right. And just take a second to get your ears accustomed to the pentatonic tuning. So I think that's interesting as well. It's what it might have been if Mozart had been from the Orient somewhere, Japanese or Chinese rather than Austrian. So he has a very interesting and surprisingly melodic feature which is present in Cubase. I've no idea if there's anything similar in other DAWs. I suspect there may well be, although perhaps not quite under the same name or with the same functionality. But in Cubase it's under MIDI inserts, and we have a blank list here because we can insert, if I find the right place to click, so we can insert a MIDI effect, and there are lots of them, and these this is a whole other video which I'm not going to go into, but there are a whole range of melodic and very interesting effects you can apply to MIDI parts. I'll start playback and let's just try. So how you'd probably use this in a more normal way would just be to play one note into it, and it sort of produces arpeggios and different effects. But it's interesting running a tune through it. At least I think it is. There are a lot of presets. I'm going to have to put the magnifier on again. So anyway, there are a range of presets which you can try. I'm not totally sure what these all do, and I can't really read them. So let's try another one. Let's switch that off. There we are. Let's try this one. Now, I really like this one because it sounds like a proper piece of Baroque music. Very melodic. I think that's clever. Okay, so that's not. That's transforming Mozart rather than normalizing it. So these are mild changes you can make. Let's do something a little bit more extreme. So we shall close down the editor, and we just need, I need my magnifier on again. So this time what we are looking for in Cubase is the MIDI modifiers option. And again, where are we? If you click on this little cog, if it's not showing up, then it will appear. So again, this is open because I've been playing with it, and there are lots of options you can apply to modify the MIDI data. What we are going to do is go down to the random function. Yes, you can see where this is heading, can't you? What we need to do first is select what it is that we're going to randomize. I've selected pitch here, but you can randomize other functions as well. There are maximum and minimum values, and we will just adjust these gently during playback, and we'll see what effect they have on the music. Let's start with the maximum value. So they're both set to 0 at the moment, so let's start playback and stick this up to 1. That is normalized. It's familiar, but it's out of tune. Can we do something worse than that? Yes, of course we can. We can set this to 2 or 3 or 6 or 7. So I suspect what this is doing is adding a number of semitones onto the original value in some sort of random fashion. Now that is the maximum setting. We can also go to the minimum setting. So I'm assuming this will deduct a similar random amount, or the set random amount, from the notes. So it will be adding or subtracting these number of semitones to the pitch. Are you enjoying this? It sounds very like a very avant-garde piece of music. It still has the rhythm there, which is quite interesting. So it's as if Mozart met, I don't know, Stockhausen, who wrote music like that. So that's sort of quite interesting. Yes, we're really doing a hatchet job on this. But let's just take it up a notch. Is that possible? Yes, of course it is. So let us increase the values to their maximum, and the maximum is 120. So now if you think about what might happen here, well, you're probably right. Some of these pitches, some of the notes it's going to generate are going to be outside the range of the instrument that's trying to play it. So that itself can be interesting. So I'm just pausing between experiments to save your ears. So this is on maximum, the maximum we can set, which is 120. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, that is very random, isn't it? Can we do worse? Well, let's try. I'll put that on pause again. So let's go down to the minimum value and set this to the minimum, which is going to be minus 120. So essentially this is just going to produce a series of random notes. I think there will absolutely be no vestige of the tune here at all. I could have just typed this in, that would have been a little bit quicker. But there we are. So let's see what this sounds like. I'll put it back to the start so we know roughly what it should sound like. Let's see what it does sound like now. Very avant-garde. We've totally lost any sense of rhythm now. The notes are just so random and so hit or miss. Everything is gone. That is not, there's no way that could be recognised as rondo alla turca, which was part of the object of the exercise. Right, so let's put everything back to neutral again, or normal. So if we want to create something which is out of tune but still recognisable, we just can't go mad with the random button. So let's start again, do a little bit of randomness. Let's just see how far we can go before it becomes totally unrecognisable. We still have the rhythm there. I'm saving your ears again. So could we push this any further? Well, we probably could, and it might still be semi-recognisable. I think for the best sort of out-of-tune effects, something within the 12, something with an octave range works quite well. Let's try 13. Now to me that's still, it sort of sounds in tune. It's obviously not rondo alla turca, or there's the vestiges of the rhythm are there, but not the melody. So if you want to normalise the melody, I think small adjustments work better, because it sounds as if someone is hitting a note, one or two notes, tones or semitones away from the real note. So that sounds weird. It doesn't sound totally unpleasant. I don't think so anyway. So you may be wondering, are there any practical applications for this? Well, rather than massacre another composer's work, I would suggest you try these functions on some of your own pieces, some of your own riffs perhaps, rather than complete pieces. Mangling a complete piece of Mozart in this way was probably totally off the wall. You probably wouldn't want to do it, but who knows what goodies and interesting bits of music you may come up with if you do. But if you put a single line or a small section of music into some of these functions and run them, it'd be interesting to see what developed. Particularly the MIDI insert effects on Cubase, which produce some really musical results. However, you could also use the random function to produce a totally random series of notes and then force them into alignment with the scale function. I might try that. So your DAW may actually come up with a couple of interesting riffs for you. That would be cool. So I hope you found this interesting, and I hope your ears enjoyed the majority of it. If you did, perhaps you would like to consider subscribing to the channel, ringing the bell. Thank you. And clicking the big thumb if you enjoyed the video. That would be most welcome and appreciated as well. I'm going to let Wolfgang rest in peace now. Well, almost. I'm going to play us out with Rondo running through one of the MIDI insert effects. I think this is quite musical. Let me know what you think, and indeed it suggests a couple of influences from other composers. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. I will see you again soon in the next one.